first-time home buyer is a very important part of real estate. This is the most expensive purchase, in theory, you're ever going to make in your entire life. The lender works for you, the title company works for you, the housing counselors are working for you, they're trying to get you your grant money, your down payment. The more important part is, what do you plan on spending per month? Hey, my rent is $1,500 a month. I know I can afford $1,500 a month. Why am I showing you a $500,000 house with an in-ground pool, with a gate, and all the trimmings? You cannot afford it. You're literally wasting money.
Welcome back to our series of videos aimed to teach our first-time home buyers what they need to know ahead of our first-time home buyer webinar. Once again, my name is Abraham Reyes Pardo. I'm the Vice President of Housing with the Urban League of Philadelphia, and I have to assist me here today to converse about the subject of home ownership from the realtor's perspective. I have the great Marvin from Marvin Caps Realty. Welcome to our series. Marvin has graciously agreed to participate in many of our first-time homebuyer webinars with us. We bonded during the pandemic when you were probably one of the early invitees or earlier invitees to our sessions. Yes. You have a lot of experience working with first-time home buyers. You have a lot of experience holding hands with your clients, our clients, mutual clients. So we wanted to bring that energy to this videos, that kind of energy. You have, how many years of experience do you have?
I've got 30 years, since
30 plus years of experience.
Yes. Yes.
That's great, man. That's great. We, as part of this series of videos, we have one with Pat Lopez, join us to talk about the home buying process from the lender's perspective. We cover some good information about the lending process. And here we have the realtor, or a real estate. You refer to yourself as a realtor, real estate professional, all of the above.
So I'm a real estate broker.
Real estate broker.
I must admit that I'm licensed in the state of Pennsylvania as a real estate broker.
Okay.
I'm also a broker in several states: New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, Georgia, associate broker in Florida. I get around.
That's where the 30 years.
I get around. Yes, and I have agents that work for me. I have about 27 agents. They're licensed in different states. My office is 2 buildings down the street from your incredible
1500 JFK?
Yes. I'm at 1800 JFK, Suite 300. I'm required to tell you that by license and law. But other than that, I am a regular guy. And let's talk.
I'm always in conflict with this situation. We know that the point of entrance into home ownership is the lender because money.
Yeah.
But many clients, many participants will find you, the real estate professional, first.
Correct.
How are people finding you?
For me personally, it's been my years of service. I've just been out there and around. I've not been a part of the media with Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, MySpace, whatever's going on. I have completely missed that. I gotta admit that. But like I said, that length of time and tenure has granted me a lot of access. So people call, they take them in, we see how far along they are. We send a lot of them to your organization, Urban League of Philadelphia. You guys are outstanding.
Thank you.
That's why we send, and that is one of the ways we pick up clients.
I want to take us back to something you said. Someone calls Marvin or Marvin Caps office. You guys will bring them in or we'll do a consultation. Can you give us an idea of what that consultation looks like?
Most of the clients, especially since we're discussing first-time clients, because we have investor clients, commercial clients, builder clients, developer clients, but I like to help everyone. We don't want to shoo anyone away. The first-time home buyer is a very important part of real estate because they're usually the ones leaving mom and pop's house. They're coming out of college. They've been renting for years, some decades, and what they do is they've had enough and they want to be a homeowner, but they are clueless to the process. Some buyers actually do save up their money and go pay cash so they don't use a lender, but that's become few and far between. So they usually have to involve a lender in the process. And we, Marvin Caps Realty, shameless plug, we make them aware that there are grant programs out there that are there for you to use. I'll use myself as an example. These are true world examples. I love sharing them. I used to work for a company that I had to work overtime, holidays, Christmas, just to get $10,000 saved up to buy my very first property. Whereas with Urban League of Philadelphia, you guys are a 4-hour
Plus-
training, then
plus
another 2 hours
counseling.
of counseling. Yeah. So for 6 hours, mathematically, they have the ability to potentially receive up to $10,000. Where I had to work many hours in years of overtime to save that much money.
Yeah.
So you want to be here. You want to be a part of it, and you want to use the grant programs that are out there.
We know, we appreciate that many of our lending and realtor partners are referring people to us because you guys recognize what down payment assistance is going to do for people. So you do, when you're meeting with them first, you're doing an assessment.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that you're looking at is whether that person has the means to buy a home or not. And in some cases, I suppose some of these individuals, it looks like the employment history is there. It looks like they're solid in terms of their credit, but they might be needing some additional resources to buy a
Or
home.
usually it's they've been working at a job for years. Now, you traditionally need 1 year of constant employment, police, fire, teachers, SEPTA workers, people that are in stable positions, and then they tack on, I don't want to say tack on, but they can go up to 2 years of constant employment. It depends. I've seen some with a job for a year and they get picked right up. It depends on your credit score. It depends on your cash reserves, how much you had saved. It also depends on your income, how much you make. So there are varying factors, and you can have two people working at the same job. One will qualify and one won't. Do not write yourself out. Let the professionals tell you what you qualify for.
Exactly. And you guys are those professionals. Again, even though I want to stress out, even though you guys are not providing the financial resources yourselves, it's very important for your process, for the next steps that you know that person can qualify for a mortgage.
Yes.
So jokingly, I always say during these sessions, and probably you've heard me saying that you guys won't show them even a doorknob if you don't know that they're pre-approved. You can have conversations, being realistic, you can have conversations,
Right.
but you want to know, you want to be certain that they will
Right.
have the means to buy a home. Right?
Unfortunately, that is not always us, but we're the face of getting into a property, the real estate agent, myself, real estate broker. People might not know, but a lot of homeowners require us to not bring anyone to their home, not to inconvenience their families, to allow them to see the inside of a house if that person is not financially able to purchase it. So all they hear is, oh, they're not letting me in. No, they actually want to see your pre-approval and verify you can qualify to buy their home. Think of it this way. You want to go buy Michael Jordan's house. Michael Jordan is not going to just let you in. He needs to make sure you can afford it. It's the same thing on a lower scale.
Speaking about getting into the house, how does Marvin and his team know what type of house do I want to see? Where do I want to see it?
We always talk to, the key word is communication. We talk to the potential buyer homeowner and we see what their needs are. The infamous, hey, I want a rancher. Hey, I want a 2-car garage. Hey, I want to live in this area, this neighborhood, near my job, near my family school. The more important part is, what do you plan on spending per month? Because once you let us know hey, I'm comfortable spending, my rent is $1,500 a month. I know I can afford $1,500 a month. A lender may say, you qualify for $2,000 a month. But that home buyer that's comfortable with that $1,500 a month budget for their housing expense, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to obey and follow what they're asking us to do. And then we'll show them areas wherever you want to live, the state, the city, the county, where those homes match up to that $1,500 a month mortgage payment, for example.
So I tell you, I want a house that is purple. I want it to have windows.
Sure.
I want it to have a green door. And then you
Yep.
have access. What is the name of that system?
It's called an MLS system, a multiple listing system. And there's several, but the primary one in this region of the country is Bright MLS system.
Bright MLS. You'll go into Bright MLS and you'll be like, aha, there are 5 purple houses.
Correct. Not Zillow. We use the real estate professionals. And when I say real estate professional, not a TikTok guru, not someone who has got 5 million followers, so they must know what they're talking about. We're talking about actually licensed real estate professionals for the state that they're licensed in. And what we do is log onto those sites, because the MLS site, as it's called, Bright MLS in this example, the properties are inputted, the data is posted, photos are taken. We actually go out and talk to the actual seller, the homeowner, and we put that data in a database system so that you, the end user, the buyer, can see it. It's not filtered through, it is a direct input process. So we're literally going to the water well to get the freshest water, as opposed to this person has to wait for it to get uploaded, this website has to wait, this website wants to add their promotions, this website wants to have you to go to this lender, use this top producer realtor. So we go directly to that source that's unfiltered and unbiased.
I have a story about that for later.
Sure.
It seems, maybe for now, it seems, I don't want to take us out of subject, but it seems like there are some websites, I'm going to leave it there, that are fighting really hard to make it a real one-stop shop.
Don't want that.
And you don't want that,
That is the
right?
worst thing. A lot of people, let me say it this way, a lot of potential buyers and renters for that matter, but we're talking about buyers. They really feel as though, what do I need the realtor for, or a real estate agent or a real estate broker for? A realtor is an organization. It's a trade organization like electricians, like plumbers, and they're held to a higher standard. So you're supposed to get the best service you can get using a licensed realtor, not realtor. But there are excellent real estate agents and excellent real estate brokers that aren't realtors. So now that I painted that picture, the websites use a pay for fee service to put one person in front of another person. That doesn't make them the best person by a long shot. It just means that's who paid the most. So by not getting that information that could come from the best person, you're getting the one who paid to get you in front of their computer screen, your cell phone, your tablet. That's not, to me, an open, fair market system so that you as an end user can see what the best deal is.
Excellent. So now you analyze my list of demands for a house. You went out and showed me, and went out and looked for purple homes with green doors.
Okay.
How many properties are you typically going to show me?
Every real estate broker like myself and every real estate agent or company is different. My claim to fame is finding my clients a property very fast. I was raised up in a military home style fashion, if you will.
Yeah.
If you're telling me, Marvin, wear a blue shirt, no hat, no earrings, no earplugs, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And when a home buyer comes along and say, I want a purple house with windows by the golf course, that's all we're going to look for. Anything else won't be a part of that search because it will distract you. No different than when you look for a car. I want a red car that's a convertible. Why am I showing you an SUV or a pickup truck? You said a red car that's a convertible. You want a house that's near your school, that's near public transportation, that has a yard for your family, then that's exactly what we're going to see. Only in the price range
The price
that you can
range,
afford.
yeah,
Right.
always.
Because too many people get a pre-approval from a lender, like Pat went over, I'm sure, and it says you qualify for, I'll pick a round number, $200,000. That $200,000 house that you qualify for, why am I showing you a $500,000 house with an in-ground pool, with a gate, and all the trimmings, and you cannot afford it? You're literally wasting your own time. Some of our buyers literally get 1 or 2 days off of work in a week. Don't waste your time doing that.
No, exactly. And I like what you're saying. And again, I want to emphasize, you guys are the point of entrance into this world of listings.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned earlier, again, that the prerogative of some of the listing agents and their clients is that the clients are pre-approved in order to show them a home.
Absolutely.
So how are those visits to 5 purple homes, 3 purple homes are going to look like? Sure. First of all, can someone be there without Marvin?
No. So you have to have that real estate professional there unless the seller is using technology. Some of the homes have apps that you walk up with your cell phone, take a picture of a barcode or a UPC symbol in front of the home, and then you'll take a picture of your driver's license, you'll enter your information, and there's a camera usually in front of the door of the house that'll show you about to enter. So you can see some homes without a real estate professional, but that's not common in this area of the company or country because of where we are, and it's just that simple. Yeah. But the way it works is, you'll tell me what you're looking for, you'll show me your pre-approval, we'll make sure the numbers match the price range that you're looking for, and we'll do either virtual on a Zoom call, we'll go through the computer or phone, and we'll look at what homes that you want to see. that you qualify for. And then by going through some of these photos and video tours, we'll rule out a house that won't work for you. And an example would be you want to see this purple house. This is the right price range, and the photos look great. And then we'll do a street view or virtual tour, and we'll pan around the area. And we'll notice right across the street is a bodega, or right across the street is a quote unquote liquor store, AKA stop and go. Where some family doesn't want that near their home, guess what? We just crossed that off the list. You are crossing it off the list. You're telling me I don't want to see that. That expedites the process, and that lets me, as you and a client, me representing you, go see a property that you really want to see.
So I found my dream home. You took me out to see 5 purple homes. I didn't like one because it had a liquor store across the street. I didn't like the other one because it had a bodega. Very important. I want to see some of those houses day, night, cold, warm, if I can.
Times of the day, you better.
Different times of the day, different neighborhoods, different areas look very different.
Yes, they do.
But let's pretend that I found my dream home.
Found it.
One of those homes is my dream home now.
Oh, man.
So what are the next steps for Marvin? Marvin is going to pull out.
Bam, you're the buyer. I'm your real estate broker. Marv, this house is it. We got to have it. We talked it over to family. We're going to go forward. The next thing we do is, I, as your real estate professional, I reach out to the actual listing agent or broker who has a house for sale. We're letting them know that we have interest in the property. We're asking, do you have any other offers on the property? If they do or if they don't, we try and see where they are. And on top of that, we're going to want to put in our own offer. I'm going to make you aware of, we need a minimum of X amount as an escrow deposit. Typically, the lowest I've seen as an escrow deposit is about $1,000. That's that initial deposit to go along with the agreement of sale offer to say, hey, we're offering you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, $200,000 for your asking price of $200,000 on your purple home. And we would like to close or gain possession of your home within 30 days of our initial contract signing, because that starts.
You're drawing that contract.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And even before we set out to see the house, I would have to say that you as a buyer, remember we're role playing, you're the buyer, I'm the real estate broker. We're going to discuss my salary because I'm doing this for a fee. Traditionally, you were thinking, oh, Marvin's going to get paid by the seller. That was usually like a foregone conclusion, right or wrong. Somehow that got put out there. Now, since August 2024, the fee that I would charge you, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, has to get negotiated with you, and it's upfront. Real estate is unlike a lot of other professions. You, as the end client, the buyer, my client, you must know how much everything costs before you sign anything. Unlike when you go to buy something else, you're signing and you're already paid or you don't know, you must know how much everything is in writing and you get a copy of that. And one of these forms I'm referring to is a buyer agency agreement. It clearly states what my fee will be for helping you, assisting you, purchasing your home in writing.
Correct. We have seen, it's important to say that we have seen in the past year
Changes,
different variations of the process that you described.
Yes.
You are a seasoned agent,
Broker.
a seasoned broker who knows, who's been on this field for a long time, who knows what he's doing, who knows his worth, and you have infused some of that in your team. We're seeing some strategies that I'm not sure are the best solution as a response to that change in dynamic. We're seeing people who are getting contracts right away without having that type of conversation that you just described. Right? Yeah, there's some stories of what's happened.
I believe that.
And unfortunately, I got more than one email that came. I was in the middle of some conversations that I didn't want to be part of. But I like what you're saying. It's important that people are having the conversation up front. People understand that there's a fee related to the process, but also that fee is could be paid through
Absolutely.
the
There's
process.
Several ways. And I'll give this example. This usually helps. I always like to say, real estate is like a relationship. You meet a significant other or potential significant other, and you talk about things. Hey, I want to have kids. Hey, I don't. Hey, I like to travel. Hey, I don't. So you get that out in the open. Now let's switch back to real estate. Hey, in order for me to represent you, there's going to be a fee. Oh, what's the fee? I heard it's 6%. That's the buyer talking. The real estate agent must inform the buyer, potential client, customer, that the fee is negotiable. Now, the fee is negotiable to what the buyer, remember, you're the buyer in role play. I'm the real estate broker. We can negotiate what my fee will be, and I can agree to accept it, or I can agree to say, no, that won't work for me. So we just agree to go our separate ways before you've signed or done anything. We've had the verbal conversation of what's occurring. That way there's no surprises. And not only do you, Mr. Buyer, not have to pay me a fee, we can negotiate it so that the seller can pay me a fee. We can negotiate it that we finance my fee with your lender, Mr. Buyer or Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. There's no set strategy or program in place for you to follow. It's just that all fees must be disclosed and agreed upon in advance. So it's not a gotcha, oh, I didn't know that. That's why everything's written down.
Communication is,
Yes.
you just said it earlier,
Yes.
communication is very
Yes, I
important.
work for you. We, the real estate professionals, we work for you. The lender works for you. The title company works for you. The housing counselors are working for you. They're trying to get you your grant money, your down payment assistance. But somehow that gets lost in TikTok world, if you will, from the glorification of buying a home.
We got into this conversation as a result of us talking about the contract, right? So I assume the point of the contract, the negotiation of the contract, was when you're ready to put an offer.
Absolutely.
You very correctly brought me in this new era.
Yeah, I'm glad you
brought
brought it
me
up.
back to the early in the process where
Sure.
you're having your initial conversation with the client. So let's go back to negotiating your
Fee?
your
Commission fee?
you're
Sales price?
negotiating the sales price,
Sure.
negotiate the purchase of the home.
Okay, not a problem. So this $200,000 purple house, I've got that in my head now. I'm just seeing Prince play
house,
basketball.
green door.
Yes, yes. $200,000 house, we like it. The buyer, remember role play, you're instructing me, I want to offer the $200,000 that they're asking. I think it's worth that amount of money. I write the contract up for the terms we just mentioned, closing in 30 days. If there's grant programs that's involved with the purchase, traditionally it's going to be 45 days. Buyers should know it takes time to process because there's additional paperwork that's going to be involved. So the 45-day window clock will start the minute we present that offer and the seller signs the offer. Now the next step, and going back and forth with the offer, because the seller has to accept $200,000. They may have more than one offer where they say, someone else has offered me 200, can you do more? The buyer has the right to say, no, I don't want to go higher, I'm staying at 200. Or the buyer could say, I don't even think it's worth 200, I only want to offer 195. In real estate, everything is negotiable. Just remember, the other party has a right to say no. So once we get that $200,000 home, purple house, green door, under contract, now the 45-day countdown clock begins. First order of business, we've presented all our documents. We've given an escrow deposit check of $1,000 as an example. We've given the agreement of sale contract executed to our lender, whomever our lender is, whatever lender that buyer chooses. We're also going to share that contract with a hazard/homeowner insurance company agent so that they can review and make sure you receive the proper homeowner's insurance. We're also going to contact, all at the same time, a title company to let the title company know and share that same agreement of sale contract so that they can begin to do their due diligence on the property and make sure, hey, does the seller own this property? Hey, is there any liens and judgments on this property? We need to make sure what the buyer is buying is actually what they're buying. What is what you get? Those are some of the things that are occurring during this process. The most important part that most buyers remember is the home inspection, because they want to make sure that the roof looks nice, but is it leaking? Does the stove work? Does the heater work? Does the AC work? If it's the wintertime, how do we know the AC works? If it's the summertime, how do we know the heater works? So they go out and hire a home inspector. A home inspection traditionally in this area of the country costs about $600 for a home inspection. And that's broken down into several things. There's a termite inspection, which is separate, but it's a part of the home inspection. That's about $100 for a termite inspection. There's usually a radon inspection, testing for radon gas that could cause cancer. That's at least $50. Budget for $100.
That's very common in Pennsylvania.
And that's why you hear me say this part of the country, because like I said, I'm all over. But right now, I have a Pennsylvania hat on my head, and that's how we're going to focus on this. There's also very common, and it's gaining traction, something known as a sewer scope. That's when they literally take a camera on a reel, on a tube, a wire, if you will, and they insert it into the plumbing and they push it out towards the street, and you're watching a live recorded camera stream of the insides of a pipe. The reason that's important is because, once again, in this part of the country, we're pretty lush and green. There's tree roots that grow through, and it works normal until you let the water run for a time frame, and then the water backs up, it causes a flood, you get the smelly smell in your basement, and guess who wants to get the blame for that? So that's a part of an inspection, and that's an expensive thing to have done. It's about $300 and something on average. And a lot of buyers, you're faced with so many fees.
Yeah.
The appraisal fee, $650 to $1,000, depending on who's called. You're looking at the home inspection. We just totaled up about $800 in home inspection fees. Some say $1,000. Your down payment, deposit, escrow, I should say, was $1,000. So you're up to $3,000 already, and you don't even have keys to the house. So let that marinate.
Yeah, earlier in a different conversation with the lender, we were talking about how people need to have some of their own means,
Sure.
some of their own money, regardless of how many payments, how many down payment closing cost assistance programs they might be receiving, they might be collecting. We still want folks to have some of their own cash reserves
Sure.
to go through with the process.
Sure.
So you mentioned the home inspection. My realtor was present during my home inspection, the inspection of my new home. But did you attend typically the inspection?
It depends. Some home inspectors are going to be there for 2 to 2.5 hours. And for the workload, sometimes we cannot always be there.
Yeah.
But traditionally, we're there to let them in. But home sellers and the home sellers' real estate agents do provide a combination access code for the home inspector to enter the property to do their inspection.
Do you recommend? I have an uncle, a cousin, my dad.
My cousin Vinny,
Yeah, are experts in housing.
my contractor.
Yeah, my
no.
contractor.
I would say, I usually tell clients, you want to bring someone, you want to bring them now. Bring them while the home inspector's there. Now, the home inspectors, I don't tell them that, Marv, don't you? You want to have them there because, remember, that home inspector is there for you, the client. Remember, role play, you're the buyer.
Yeah.
If your uncle is an electrician, he may see something that the home inspector may not see. But remember, the home inspector is a licensed inspector.
Yeah.
He's what's known as ASHI certified, like ashy elbows. I think it's American Society of Home Inspectors.
Yes. Yeah.
There's so many letters and abbreviations. I wanted to try and break them all down, but they have done a minimum number of home inspections, whereas your cousin Vinny may have wired a bunch of homes, but he may not have seen this type of product or home. So it's important to point out they may confer with each other professionally, as opposed to your cousin Vinny, the electrician, showing up after you get the keys to your house and throwing everything under the bus. Oh, this house is a mess. Why did you buy that? They want to be there so they can compare ideas and viewpoints before you purchase.
Yeah, we've heard some interesting stories about that. About family members, friends joining inspections of the home. So I'm going to assume, leap of faith here, that if everything is good with the inspection, then things keep moving forward.
Right. Now let's sidebar without eating up time. If something is wrong with the house, and that's a classic thing. An example would be the home inspector noticed that he went up on a roof, because home inspectors climb up on top of the roof, or they send a drone if the roof is difficult to climb.
Yeah.
If something's wrong with the roof and it gets put in a report and we share that report with the homeowners, we have to, even though you, the buyer, role play, you pay for that home inspection report, we're obligated contractually to share that home inspection report with the buyer, with the seller, so that the seller can be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was like that. They might not have known. That seller may in fact put a new roof, and it has happened, install a new roof on that home. That was my sidebar. So yes, things don't always go good. And if it doesn't, bring it up. And if the seller doesn't want to make repairs, we'll just cancel the contract.
That's where I want to get to. There are different degrees of response, or different responses to something is wrong with the inspection.
Yes.
And I think you brought up the amicable seller of let's fix it.
Or give you a credit so you
Or
can
give you a
fix it.
credit so you can fix it. And then there's going to be the I don't want to fix it.
Correct.
And then Marvin is going to be, let's move on.
Then we negotiate. We let the buyer know, the buyer client, hey,
Yeah.
just so you know, the lights don't turn on in this room. The seller says he don't think nothing's wrong with it. He think the bulbs are burnt out. You don't know. The seller's willing to offer you $100. Marvin, as a buyer, Marvin, I don't think that's enough. Do you want to cancel the contract on this home over the lights not turning on, or would you like a seller credit in the form of $1,000 so that an electrician can come in and see why the lights don't turn on? That's a very feasible, agreeable item to occur.
It's either for things to continue moving forward, either they fix it or they give you some money.
Because remember, you
Some
had a hard
credit.
time. You had a hard time finding this purple house with the green doors. So
Yeah.
it might not be worth tearing everything up and walking away,
All right.
unless it is.
So there's also the appraisal, which you are not involved with. We know the lender is sending an appraiser, making sure that everything checks out.
Right, they're making sure that the house is worth what you're willing to pay. That's a simple answer.
Yeah. So if the house is worth more,
Good for you, Mr.
good
Buyer.
for the.
If the house is worth less, then the seller has to make an adjustment with the price,
Yeah.
or walk away and you get your deposit back.
Yes, yes. So all of these contingencies, the inspection, the appraisal, let's say we clear those two
Nice.
instances, we're like a froggy. We're jumping from one place to another. Now we come to the point where
The
we
title,
are going to do a
title search.
title search.
Remember, all these are occurring at the same time. The crazy stuff got me
Simultaneously.
stuttering. Realtors, real estate agents, real estate brokers, we get labeled with, you didn't even do nothing. You weren't doing anything. All you did was turn the key, open the door, and let me in. They have no idea, which proves we're doing our job, the amount of work we do behind the scenes, because we're literally juggling 5 to 6 separate professions, coordinating, making sure everyone's aware of what's occurring. You mentioned appraisal, the value of the home inspection, making sure you get things prepared like you
Yeah.
want to. The search of the home. The title search. The title search is designed to ensure that the property you're buying is the right property and the owner who's selling it actually owns the property. There's plenty of title fraud that occurs where someone sells a house and it's not even their house. The house might have been their parents' home and the parents aren't there and they're selling it. It might have been a friend's home. It happens more than, and the title company is also checking you out, Mr. Buyer, to make sure that you don't have anything on your name that you need to clear up. Child support, you may not pass the federal Homeland Security background check, you may be a participant in Al-Qaeda. There are so many different things, but it never comes up until it does.
Yeah. Yeah, we have seen anecdotally, I can tell you, for a number of times, and this is one that keeps coming up because we do the down payment assistance negotiation.
Sure.
How many times we found of someone who was put on a deed and they didn't know that house was on their name, or that they were co-owners of that house, or whatever, however you want to phrase it.
Yep, TikTok strikes again. Yeah, the gurus say just add your name, just drop. You might want to talk to a lawyer or a legal real estate attorney. We usually recommend that every single time, unless the buyer's a real estate attorney, because you might want to talk to a lawyer or a legal real estate attorney. We usually recommend that every single time, unless the buyer's a real estate attorney, because there's so much occurring behind the scenes. It seems simple. You just buy the house. This is the most expensive purchase in theory you're ever going to make in your entire life. For a $100 consultation fee, for $500 representation, on average, to purchase a simple residential home. You're not buying a mall or a high-rise downtown building. That fee is about $500, so it's well worth it. Pay the fee.
You just touched on something very important. Again, Pennsylvania cap, in Pennsylvania, where we are, typically, in my experience, an attorney is not involved
Correct.
with the purchase of the home.
Correct.
However, doing so many of this, people often ask us whether there's going to be an attorney or whether they can bring an attorney. Do you have any experience in dealing with a transaction where a client insisted on including an attorney?
Sure.
Or do you have any anecdotes of people asking you about the attorney, but then later finding out that is not necessary?
And an attorney, and I'm trying to be delicate, but there's no nice way to say this. An attorney will slow the process down because that's another set of eyes, legal eyes, that needs to review all documentation. And they need to make sure and ensure that their client, which is actually the buyer client, ensures that they understand everything that they've signed. Even if the real estate professional went over that document with them, they have a due diligence, they have a fiduciary responsibility, as do we, the real estate professionals, to ensure you understand that. And when you're buying a house, is it Abraham buying a house? Abraham, are you married? Abraham, how do you want to take title? Do you want your kids to get the house? Do you want your significant? All these things come into play, which is a whole nother avenue that gets explored. And it's supposed to. That's why they're attorneys. Our forms are written by attorneys in the state of Pennsylvania, which is why the attorney traditionally isn't involved, because they've created these forms to make them as simple, even though it's a lot of pages, as simple as can be, so a regular quote-unquote person can understand the language.
Colloquial. I have, obviously, I've seen several contracts, and yeah, the language can be a little bit more colloquial than what some of the legal documents could sound like if they were.
Yes.
If you had an attorney, if they were expected to be reviewed by an attorney.
Correct. Our average buyer would read a contract and it would say, Abraham is buying a house from Marvin for $200,000. He will put down $1,000. A law contract would be, whereas for thou shall see and pay onto the, wait, what? What did he, oh, you're buying a house. Oh, yeah, that's what a lawyer, oh, you're just buying. So,
Legalese.
Legalese.
Marvin has taken me from the initial consultation to the negotiation to the inspection, the appraisal.
Title.
So
now we're going to get you some hazard insurance, or as it's called, homeowners insurance.
Yes.
Homeowners insurance is designed to protect you after you buy the house. At settlement, when you get your keys, it shows that your house will be covered, and there's several layers and levels of insurance. There's fire insurance, there's wind insurance, flood insurance, hurricane insurance. Like, all of these are different things, aka, oh, the house, there was a hurricane that came to town and it blew the house away. Why is that not covered? Oh, you didn't get that type of insurance. That's why we have an insurance broker. The insurance broker lets you know, we're in Pennsylvania we traditionally don't get hurricanes up this far. What we have is rain events, wind events, so they're going to have you cover your house with the typical type of storm that we receive. But we've been receiving several 100-year floods back to back.
Yeah.
And like you said, without getting scientific or political, but that's one of the major things that we do behind the scenes. We make sure you're covered. Insurance coverage isn't for your flat screen TV when it cracks. They sell a rider policy for that, but it's designed to protect your home for catastrophic loss or for an amount over your deductible.
In one of the other videos, we covered a little bit of that, the collateral aspect of the house. Also, very important, the reason why the lender will want you to have homeowners insurance.
Sure.
As a sidebar conversation, I want to make everyone aware of what you mentioned, which is the insurance market is getting complicated because of all of these one-off, 1 in 100 years things that we're seeing happening more often.
You say complicated, I say very expensive. There are people receiving adjustments, double, tripling their insurance premiums per year without even putting in a claim. Traditionally, it's, oh, I had this happen, the damages were this amount, and then you get a policy premium increase. Now, policyholders are getting increases with no claims being input because of the risk factor involved with your home and where it's located. Once again, our Pennsylvania has one.
So we have the insurance. I feel like we are smooth sailing into closing.
Yep,
Is that hold your breath?
Almost there. We're waiting for the lender, the chosen lender or bank, to say, hey, you know what? Your loan has been approved. All our commitments that we needed you to make, you've shown us your tax returns, your pay stubs, your bank statements, your length of service. We've called your employer, they verified your employment. And now we're going to issue you what's known as a commitment letter saying that you're clear to close, which means that the lender has set aside that $200,000 minus your deposit for you to make the purchase of your home on your scheduled settlement day. And it's very important to see that letter.
That's the day that we want our clients to get to. Do you typically join clients at settlement?
Yes, always.
Always.
And I require all my agents to be there for their client because there are so many things that could go wrong. And you also want to explain the numerous documents. You're going to be signing about 200 pages of
Yeah.
I promise to do this
sounds
or
low.
that. Yeah, I know. Because you got grant paperwork, you have the purchase
Yeah,
contract.
yeah.
You're literally, as a buyer, remember role play, you're giving a lender permission to come and take the house back in the event that you do not pay. You're also letting the lender have the right to say, hey, in case I made a mistake and I missed signing a form, I agree to come back and sign this form. The pages might have been stuck together. They might not have come through the fax or the copier. So these are all some of the documents that you're signing.
Even with all the sets of eyes that we have looking at
It
everything,
happens. Yes.
I life is imperfect and accidents can happen.
Life be
and
lifing. Yes.
life will be lifing,
Yes.
and then we see it with the recordings and whatnot because you still have to,
Yeah.
the property, the documents still have to get recorded once signed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you still rely on the city, the county, the municipality to record that information.
Yes.
And to do it properly
Yes,
and to
it's a
do it
requirement.
timely.
Yes, correct.
The requirement. Do you go over the closing disclosure with the clients?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, you
There's
talk
usually a
about.
professional there, quote unquote, from the title company who is a closer by definition. That's their title.
Yeah.
That they're a closing agent, and they review and go over the documents because they've been sent the documents previously so they could review them in advance. But the documents have a similar theme. The mortgage that you're using to give your rights away to the lender, the promissory note, which is actually the document showing that you promised to repay the loan, the terms letting you know what everything that's occurring, and of course, you getting the deed or title to that property.
And that's it, you're a homeowner.
And then you're a homeowner, you get the keys. But before you do that, you know I got to throw in a little Marvin or Razzmatazz.
Please.
So there's something known as a pre-settlement walkthrough. Before you
please.
go and sign these 200 documents to get your house, you want to actually go out and see the property. It's like a fly before you buy, a test drive before you take the car. You want to make sure that the house you saw 45 days ago is the same house you're buying while you're on your way to settlement. So if settlement, let's pretend, is at 12 noon. At 11 a.m., you want to be at the property with your real estate agent, walking, me and you, role play, right?
Yeah.
We're walking through this property to make sure the same stove is there, that didn't get switched out. We're making sure the refrigerator is there. And I tell a story because I had a client that was buying a house, and we were going to settlement. They worked a midnight shift, and they was too tired to get up an extra hour earlier. And I was like, I'm going. They was like, you don't have to go. I'm going. I went, and guess what? Someone had got into the house, took out all the pipes, took out the heater, hot water heater, the stove, the refrigerator, the dishwasher, ripped it out, gone. So I'm walking in like, what in the world? I'm taking pictures. I call them, I show them. We go to settlement and let the seller know this is what occurred to your house. The seller's, that's not my problem. Give me my $200,000 for my purple house with the green doors. Actually, en contraire, mon ami, that is not how this works. The buyer did a pre-settlement walkthrough, or at least his representative did. I did, and I was making them aware of what happened. You don't have to purchase that house. Your $200,000 that was set aside is still going to be there. The seller has an opportunity to repair all those broken items and missing items. But me, I'm from Philly, so I went next door, knocked on her door, and was like, hey, what happened? Did something happen at the house yesterday? Because we were here, and it wasn't like this. And they're like, oh, we thought that you guys were remodeling the house. Like, man, they're off to a fast start. What they thought was remodeling was actually something bad being done to this property.
The importance of the final walkthrough prior to signing a stack of documents. So by the final walkthrough will be the final cross-referencing everything, making sure that everything is the way
It should be.
the snapshot wants
House
it to
is empty,
be.
seller moved out. Some sellers don't move out. Some of them leave their stuff in there. They, just give me another day. Absolutely not.
If I go share again, I need to record a video about my story
Yes,
by
that's
now.
that experience coming through. Yes.
Yeah, like a case study of that.
And I do want to say this because I know we're wrapping up.
Yes.
It's important for a lot of your potential clients that are coming through your housing organization to know. And I use myself as an example as always. Don't be like me. And I'm going to slide over and look at the camera. I know I'm supposed to, but don't be like me. Don't sit in algebra and don't understand how 1x over 2x divided by the integer, the cosine to pi, gives you x. Don't do that. Raise your hand. Ask a question of this gentleman and his organization and the employees he has working here. You're here to learn, so do not bite your tongue if you don't understand something. Remember, we all work for you, and we're here for you to make sure you understand everything before going forward. When they ask you for documentation, your driver's license, tax return, W-2s, you have to give them the information, because if you don't, they can't process your information, and then you can't get the grant money, and you can't get that purple house with the green door. So, as crazy as that sounds, do it, because you have to change how you're thinking. You have to change. You're no longer going to be a renter unless you don't want to be. You're going to become a homeowner. And in home ownership, tag you're it. If something goes wrong, you have to take care of that. If something's not right, you have to take care of that. So use the professionals
Thank you.
that are around you while they're here. Let that sink in.
Thank you. Yeah, this is our process intends to be a test run of what they will go through with you guys. Although, again, due to the good faith of our partners, a lot of people are finding us because they know there's someone initiating the process and they know that they can find down payment closing cost assistance. We'll take people at any that are from any point in this, any
Yeah.
stage in the process. We'll take people with no credit, no employment history to work to help them work on those things. But again, it's always satisfactory when someone has done their homework. They're almost ready to go, and they knowing that they just need some money to get to the finish line.
Yes.
Marvin and Marvin Caps, we want to thank you sincerely for helping
an
us
honor,
with
sir.
this content. You're gonna be going into thousands of homes through this content. We want to make sure people know how the process feels like, sounds like from the voice of some of our professional friends and colleagues, and we want to take this sincerely.